And I went out on the porch that day in order to pick a major. I went back into the house probably 20 minutes later, half an hour, with my life completely changed because I never stopped. I never had a doubt. I never had any hesitation. And she's saying to me, what's happening? And my phone rang. And so I show her the 202 area code, which is Washington. I go, oh! So she goes running out of the room. All right.
How should Catholics respond to laws that permit assisted suicide?
Hi everybody, welcome to this podcast, Who's in My Pew, a podcast we do here in the Church of St. Pius X in Laurenville. The idea of this podcast since last year was to help you to know more the community. We have a large community, and our goal is for all of you to know who are attending Mass, where they sit, their experience here at St. Pius. And today, this is a wonderful, wonderful moment for me. This is the first episode of Season 2 of our podcast. We have two special guests for us today, with us today. First of all, we have Bishop Mark, the new Bishop of Albany.
Thank you.
And also we have our younger adults here with us, Son of Dan. And we are so glad for all of you guys. You are the future of St. Pius. And, everybody here is so inspired for all of you to be here with us. Okay, let's start with an opening prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
Lord Jesus, we thank you for the gift of this new season of Who's in My Pew. Bless our conversation today that it may draw hearts closer to you and to your church. Pour out your Holy Spirit upon Bishop Mark, guide his words, strengthen his ministry, and keep him joyful in serving your people in Albany. Bless all who listen to this episode, that they may discover their own call to follow you more closely. We place this podcast, our guest, and our listeners in your loving hands. Through the intercession of Mary, Mother of the Church, in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Bishop Mark, happy to have you here. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, I am Bishop Mark O'Connell. And I am the new Bishop of Albany, and I've been a priest for 35 years, and a bishop for, will be 10 in August, and a bishop of a diocese for less than 2 months.
Wow, we're so glad to have you here, Bishop, and it was a delight for all of us when we found you were the bishop. We start, people asking questions. Do you know the guy? Do you know him? No, everybody start calling people who are living in Boston right now to check about you. We have some parishioners telling us he's a wonderful guy and he will be talking about happiness, is what they said.
And others told you what? Some told you this, and others told
other
you
people told me he will be talking about happiness a lot. Okay. He's a happy bishop, and
I hope to be.
We are so glad for you, and we priests, we are so delightful to have you here in this diocese. Bishop, some questions about your childhood.
Okay. Do you have specific questions you want me to?
I have some questions
right,
here.
For it.
And what are the early memories you have from your childhood?
Well, I was born in a faraway country called Canada.
Canada.
Yeah. Actually, it was not too far away, but it was Toronto, Canada. Okay. My parents were American, but my family had work there. So I was born while my mother and father were living in Canada. And my earliest memories come from the first apartment. We moved when I was 4 or 5 to a house. So anything from that apartment is my earliest memories. So I can remember faking being sick. I can remember watching my brother jump from the top bunk bed and onto the toy box and break it. So these are like my earliest memories are anything that I can remember in that apartment, those what I remember.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you remember any moment as a child that you feel like God was close to you?
Well, I come from a very Catholic family.
Okay.
My uncle was a priest. My aunt is a nun. And my family was, we went to church, sat in the same pew, in the same row, same order. My mother went to daily mass. So I come from a family where I was always, we prayed together as a family at night.
At home? At night?
Yeah, well, around dinner time. And so the opposite is true of me. I never thought God was distant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
I've never, at least in my childhood, I was secure in my faith.
Okay. And I'm guessing it was your parents, the ones who...
My parents, and then as I grew older, other people influenced me. My uncle, my aunt, but my mother and father were very devout in different ways. And like, for example, when I was a kid, my mother would go into the living room, and we weren't allowed to bug her, which is, I want to bug my mother, right? Yep. So I want her attention. But I knew when she was in the living room, couldn't bug her. Well, I didn't know but she was saying her prayers. Mm-hmm. So she would take time to say her prayers, and we could only bother her in emergencies. So, I got a lot of prayers when I was a kid from my mother. So.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you remember any particular intention when you were a kid and you prayed for something specifically, or just for family and friends? Or
yeah, I can remember being a young kid and not knowing how to pray, and thought to myself, I should know. Mm-hmm. So I would early trying to figure out who I am with God. I thought very seriously about how do you pray, and I didn't know how. And so I knew the Hail Mary, so I would, my first prayers by myself, without my parents, without anyone else, were, this is from my mother, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. This is from my father. So that was, then, can I tell another story?
Of course, Bishop.
So I like this story because so I don't know how old I was. I was 12, 13. And my father is a librarian. So he was a university librarian at York University and then at Boston College. So books have been part of my life my whole life. Every birthday, Mom gave me clothes or something, and my father gave me books. And so I decided I wanted to read the Bible.
Okay.
So there's books all over my house, or our house, but I could not find a Bible. So in my young mind, I thought you weren't supposed to read the Bible. Okay. So I snuck into a store and I bought a Bible. So it said Catholic edition, Good News Catholic edition. So I knew it was Catholic. So I buy the Bible, and then I was reading it in secret. So I'm reading this Bible in secret, and all of a sudden my mother comes into my bedroom, and so I quickly hid it under the covers. And she said, Mark O'Connell, we don't hide things in this house. You show me what you're hiding. Whenever I pulled out a Bible, she was so shocked. Yeah, so shocked. So, but nevertheless, she said, you don't have to hide the Bible. And so I got an early start on trying to read the Bible, but I got bogged down by all the blood and guts and laws. And I don't think I finished it during that time. Yeah.
Do you remember which book You read in that Bible?
Oh, I read all the
Leviticus.
no,
All the rules.
it got kind of thick, after the Torah. But I should have. I would recommend anyone starting the Bible now start like at Luke. Don't start at the beginning. And so, nevertheless, there's a story about my budding faith, trying to figure out who I am before God, and God led me.
Did you ever talk to be a priest when you were a child? Did you talk about the priesthood or never?
Well, I wasn't planning on being a priest at my. I remember my brother Tom riding in a bus asked me if I was going to be a priest, and I said no. I remember that conversation very clearly. But years later, not too long ago, because I was my 18th birthday. Let me tell my little vocation story.
Oh yeah, I'm going to ask you that later.
Okay, so here's my little vocation story. My 18th birthday, I had finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was entering, I went to Boston College where my father worked. So it was, my birthday's June 25th. So finished high school and now about to enter college. And I had to pick a major. So I went out on the back porch of the house that we lived in order to pick my major. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I had this thought that was, well, I'd love to be a priest. I wish God would call me. That would. Yeah. And then I thought, maybe this is a call. And then the third thought was, I will begin living my life as if it were. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, you can stop at any time, Mark. I said to myself, just stop at any time, no problem. But I will start living from this moment on as if I'm preparing for priesthood. And I went out on the porch that day in order to pick a major. I went back into the house probably 20 minutes later, half an hour, with my life completely changed because I never stopped. I never had a doubt. I never had any hesitation. Mm-hmm. And even through seminary, I never did because I quickly discovered that this is what God is calling me to do. So very, very boring vocation story. If you look for like, an angel to come hit me over the head.
Mary calling, the calling from Jesus Christ.
Right. It didn't happen. But I think that is most big moves in our faith life are, I wonder if, and then, I'll act as if it is, if it is true. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very, very fortunate that on my 18th birthday, I knew what I was going to do with my life. Yeah. I'm 61 now, and I've never been the same person. I've never regretted that experience.
Yeah, that's beautiful, especially because we have a couple of younger people here in the church sometimes asking me random questions about vocations, their vocation, and some of them say like, Father, maybe I'm called to be a priest, but I don't have like a miracle happening to me to understand this call. And we are always, Father Walsh and myself, we're always talking about the simplicity of God, the little things that God is doing in our lives to do something bigger in us. Any memories from the seminary? Because seminary, all the priest people, we always have a good story about the seminary. Sometimes not, but most of the time we have wonderful memories about the seminary.
Well, I was pretty young. I was the youngest in my class. And
which seminary? St. John's, right?
St. John's Seminary in Brighton, Massachusetts, in Boston. Mm-hmm. Brighton is part of Boston. And so it's right across the street from Boston College. Okay. So I moved. I was in the same neighborhood just across the street. Yeah. And I have lots of memories from seminary, but I don't think I have. I don't know. One thing that I met in seminary is my good friend, Father Paul Soper.
Okay.
So before I went to seminary, I went to like meetings about possible, right?
Okay.
And at one of those meetings, I met Father Paul. I was a student at Boston College, and he was at Harvard University. I was a English and philosophy major, and he was an astrophysicist.
Wow.
And so we both were thinking of priesthood, and we became friends even before seminary. And we are so close now, many years later. I'm 35 years a priest, and we speak every day, and that friendship that started in seminary has been a complete anchor for my life. He I suppose I'm for him too, but besides my license to be a priest and the ability to practice, the most important thing I got out of seminary was my friendship to Father Paul Soper.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to always have a classmate, a friend from the seminary that becomes like family to us, because the seminary is a beautiful moment in our journey. But I always, when I was thinking at the seminary, we don't have vocation to be seminarians. Our vocation is to be a priest. And that's why the seminary can be a challenge. There's a lot of challenges in that journey, but having friends, having family with us, having the support of the priest is always, wonderful. And I guess, for you to have another priest friend and somebody walking with you in that journey, that's beautiful. Bishop, do you remember before being ordained a priest, we are ordained deacons, and of course we have to preach. Do you have any memories for those very first times that you have to stand up in front of the community and preach?
Yes, well, my two things I want to speak about when I finish this story. I want to speak about the grace of orders. Mm-hmm. My first time I ever preached was as a seminarian.
Wow.
So the priest just said, "Hey, you're preaching tomorrow." So, and I wasn't a deacon. I wasn't.
That happened before.
Yeah. And so I did my best. It was a bit awkward. And I remember the last line of my homily was, "And thus ends the first homily of my life." That was my last. Yeah. But that priest, he was a very good man, but he didn't seem to ever prepare his homilies.
Okay.
So it was probably more prepared than what he usually did.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I want to speak I've been ordained 3 times. I've been ordained a deacon, a priest, and a bishop. And with each of those orders comes the grace of orders. And the grace of orders is what empowers you to diaconate. Empowers you to preach in amazing ways. And there is a difference between trying to preach without the grace of orders and then getting that and feeling God with you. Mm-hmm.
Like the confidence of God.
The confidence. And it's not what you say, it's what they hear. There's something that happens to your words between your mouth and their ears and in their heart. Yeah. I remember once I was preaching and I lost my train of thought. Just completely dead. Nothing.
It happens to me a couple of times when my brain goes into Spanish.
Your brain goes to Spanish.
It happens sometimes.
My brain just went to nothing. So I write out my homilies, but I don't usually read them. So the homily's in front of me, but it's not really. It's really to form it, I write it out. So I look down. I don't know where I am on the paper. I don't know where I am. So I look to the left, and in front of the altar, there were these flowers left over from a funeral or wedding, and they were nice flowers. So I think I said, "Look at those lovely flowers." Then I remembered where I was, and awkwardly finished the homily. 2 weeks later, this woman comes up to me and she says, Father Mark, I love the homily about the flowers. And I had to think long and hard, when did I ever talk about flowers? And that's the only time I spoke about flowers.
Yeah.
But you see, God did something in her brain.
Holy
Maybe it woke
Spirit.
her up too. But preaching, sometimes you work really hard. You must have this experience. You work hard on a homily and you think, oh, this is great. Wow. And no one says a word.
Yep.
And then you preach about flowers and people are affected by it.
Yeah.
And another story like that, there was this daily mass, and I preached this very basic philosophy of God is other. Okay, so God, whatever you think of, God is other than that. You can't define God. God is other. Okay, I use that. Man comes up to me, wow, I've never even thought of that, and that's a very interesting thing. Okay, next day it's like Mother's Day or some mother's thing, and I preached about my mother. This woman comes up practically crying, saying, you've touched my heart with your story about your mother, and the guy from the day before was standing behind her. So I said, isn't this interesting? Today God touched you, and yesterday it touched Frank. And then Frank said, yeah, this one did nothing for me. Yeah.
It's God working in so many ways.
So, you do your best to figure out one message, you launch it, and let God do the rest.
Yeah.
So, but that comes to the grace of orders. But the diaconate is the gateway to that grace.
Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. Beautiful time to be a deacon. And as a priest, first mass.
First mass.
We always do something always happen in the first mass.
Yeah,
something that you will remember forever.
True. I my first mass was in my home parish, and that was 1990. They took a VCR of it, a videotape. Before what we have now, there was the video recorders, and I still have that. And on my 35th anniversary, I watched it, and so I look really, really young. I was 25 when I was ordained.
Wow.
25. My entire seminary career was only 3.5 years.
Wow.
That was it. It was the whole thing. I became a deacon after 3.5 years, and we left the seminary. So I was 25 when I was ordained, and but I did all right.
Here you are.
Yeah. Very like a week later, they asked me to go to the senior place where the senior priests live, and do a benediction. So they do benediction in the seminary now, but they didn't do it then. It just, we had a tabernacle. What do you need the monstrance for is really what the attitude was. Yeah. So, I prayed in front of a tabernacle. And so, but they wanted me to do the whole thing with the incense and the Tantamergo and all that. And so I did my best. But they wanted me to preach to the guys that have been a priest for forever. So I preached about how at my fourth mass, I forgot to put on an alb. Alb is the white robe under the chasuble, under the green robe or the red robe is the white robe under, and I forgot to do it. And the chasuble kept running up my sleeve, and I had these. I couldn't figure it out till afterwards. I always said, "Did you forget the alb?" I forgot the alb. So I told that story to the senior priests. Okay, they all then after it. I was supposed to hang out while they had a nap, and then I was going to do the next part of it. And they said, "Okay, you can come here and sit with this old priest." So I'm sitting across the table from an old priest. His name was McNamara, and he was wearing this old cassock. And he's at the table, and he says, are you the new guy on the third floor? So he was kind of blind too, apparently, because I'm 25 years old, and he's thinking I'm a senior priest moving into the senior house. Okay, so I said, no, Monsignor, I'm a newly ordained. My name is Mark, and he said, oh, you're the guy that forgot the alb. Anyway, lots of rookie mistakes. That's not much of one, but lots of rookie mistakes. And but I was sent to such a beautiful parish that I was very happy.
Awesome. Bishop, tell us the story when they ask you to be a bishop.
Okay. Well, when they're thinking of making someone a bishop, the names are submitted, and then they're submitted to the nuncio.
Who submit the names?
The bishop. The so the bishops submit the names, and my name was submitted, obviously, and so the nuncio is the Pope's ambassador in America. The nuncio at the time was his name was Vigano. So he and the nuncio then sends out these vetting letters. So the letters are always in the same envelope, and they say on them pontifical secret, right? And then they send them to people, and then when it comes to you, you're supposed to answer all the questions about this bishop very honestly, with your hand on the Bible, and then take all the paper, not keep a copy, and send everything back to the nuncio. So that's the process. Okay. So because of my position in the Archdiocese of Boston, I had done many of them, and I knew what the envelope was. So they one day, I'm in my office, and there's 3 of them there. And I said, oh, great, they're picking new bishops. Mm-hmm. So who am I going to vet? So I open them all up, and I open it, and they're vetting me. So they didn't send, they didn't ask me to vet myself. They sent the letters care of me, but I didn't realize that when I opened them.
Yeah.
So that was 6 months before I got that phone call. So I had 6 months of I could be a bishop, which actually was a blessing because when I finally got the call, I got it was Archbishop Vigano's last day in office. It was like his last call, and he called me and he said, "The Holy Father has asked you to be auxiliary bishop of Boston."
Bishop, I know you are good with impressions. Do Bishop Vigano.
I could do the current nuncios, but he was figuring it was Italian, and anyway he asked me, and I said, oh wow, and he said, the Holy Father asked you, and I said, well, I'm not going to say no. And he said, no, you have to accept. And I said, okay. No, you have to say you accept. I said, okay, I accept. Okay. And that was pretty much the end of the phone call. I mean, he had his bag packed and 2 feet out the door.
The last call.
Yeah, that was the last call. So it was now Cardinal, but then Archbishop Pierre, who was the one who installed me. So there was that, the very last day of his time. And then you have to keep the secret for a bit. And I only told about 10 people. And so then it was announced. And but it is a big kind of wow. But I had the warning, so it wasn't a shock.
Okay. That's good to know that they at least give you the chance to think about it. And thank you for saying yes. I know that was a hard time for Boston when you say yes for that.
Well, I went through a lot in Boston, but I was honored and I felt ready. But I was then. Because you talked about the hard time of Boston, so the abuse crisis happened in Boston, and I was in the middle of it. Yeah. So I was sent to Rome to study church law, canon law, after 7 years of priesthood. So that was 1997. And then I finished my doctorate in canon law, and that was 2001, July. The abuse crisis broke in Boston January 6, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
In between was 9/11. So I didn't have that much time to practice law before I was in the eye of the storm.
Wow.
It was at the time my bishop was Cardinal Bernard Law, and there was cameras at outside the gate looking over the stone wall every day. Like my car was on the news every night because I parked in front of the house, and I was trying to figure out all this, but my life got completely taken over to that because I'm a brand new canon lawyer, and all the other canon lawyers were kind of affected. There was like 3 young canon lawyers who had to figure out this crisis, and then they kept moving me, and so it became a huge part of my life, and I never got to be a pastor, which was my goal in life.
Yeah.
Well, that was
At the end, that's why we are ordained.
that was my goal in life. But after I got ordained a bishop, Cardinal Sean said, "You're going to take a region," so that was 60 parishes, and you're also going to be pastor of one of them. So I finally got to be a pastor. I had to be a
Very
bishop. Yeah,
It's a good call, right?
I had 21 classmates in seminary and became priests, and I was the last one to be a pastor. So I'm the slow one.
And a bishop.
I'm the only one to be a bishop so far.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Bishop, tell us the story when they call you to be the next Bishop of Albany. That's a good one.
Well, so I also had warning on that one, but I had no warning about Albany. I just knew I was leaving, and that I was going to be a bishop someplace. I had some good hints. My archbishop was Archbishop Richard Henning in Boston, had told me that I probably should get new pictures taken. That's a good hit.
Yep.
And others, high-ranking people, including Cardinal Sean, had indicated that it was going to happen. So I just didn't know who or when. So one day I was celebrating Mass for the Carmelite sisters in Boston, Roxbury Carmel, and I was having breakfast afterwards with Sister Bernadette Therese, and she was saying to me, "Hey, have you heard anything? Have you heard anything?" Because she was somebody I could share my things with. I mean, she's in the Carmel. Who's she going to tell? She's going to tell the other nuns. So, anyway, she's a great friend, and so we're having breakfast, and she's saying to me, what's happening? And my phone rang, and so I show her the 202 area code, which is Washington. I go, "Oh!" So she goes running out of the room, and it's Cardinal Pierre. He says, "Are you in good health?" I said, "Yes, Your Eminence. I've actually just lost a lot of weight." And he said, "Oh, good, so you can move." And I said, "Okay." He says, "The Holy Father has named you the Bishop of Albany in New York. It is the capital. It is the capital, It's the capital of New York." And I said, "Yeah, well, great." And he said, "And you are in bankruptcy." It was like a prize. Here's your prize. So I said, "Oh, I understand that." And he says, and so he starts to talk to me more about it. And I said, "Your Eminence, could I interrupt you?" And he said, "Oh, okay." And I said, he didn't call it Albany. He said, the Holy Father has named you the Bishop of Albany. Albany. Yeah, he still doesn't get that.
Yeah,
so,
no.
But it is the capital. So and we're in bankruptcy. And so I interrupted him and said, I accept. Because Archbishop Vigano had told me, you have to say you accept,
Yep.
right? So I wanted to get that out. So he says, oh, well, of course you would. I knew you would. And so, and then soon after, I got a call from Bishop Scharfenberger, who was congratulating me and wanted to tell me some things about it. And he had to tell me those things he said that day like 3 other times because my head was spinning, and I wasn't catching details. So he did tell me things. I'm sure I should have known them, but I was spinning. And then Cardinal Dolan called me, and Marco, because Cardinal Dolan was my rector when I was in Rome. So he calls me Marco. So, Marco! Well, I just want to welcome you, Marco! And he says, anyway, he was happy for me. And he's been very supportive. He called me 3 other times. It was big. And then I called Cardinal Sean O'Malley, who's a mentor and a friend. Yeah. And he was happy for me. And first I called my friend Father Paul before everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not supposed to tell anyone, but I told
Your
him.
friend.
Yeah. He knew before everyone. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Bishop, for saying yes. And
I was
our
excited.
diocese, and everything you're doing, we're in good hands, and we have a lot of hope that you will be successful in your mission here in Albany, and we're happy for that. Bishop, now we're moving into questions.
Okay.
And we have questions first. We have St. Pius School, the 10th. They want to know more about you. They ask questions about you. I'm sure you are coming for one of our school masses here.
Oh, I hope so. I love school masses.
Yeah, and they're asking questions every single week. Nick and I, we're always dealing with them because they're asking, who is the new guy in the picture? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? And I didn't say nothing until you come. Okay, they wrote a couple of questions for us. I will just ask you. This is our very quick answer. Have you always wanted to be a bishop?
No.
No.
No, I never wanted to be. I never thought of being a bishop until I got that letter. So I guess in those 6 months before, when they were vetting me anyway, I guess I had thought I want to be a bishop. But before that, honestly, that wasn't a desire.
Yeah,
I wanted to be a pastor.
Yeah, that's what I try to explain to our middle school students. Yeah. Okay, what hobbies and things do you like to do?
What hobbies?
Yep, hobbies and things do you like to do?
Hobbies and things.
Yeah.
Well, I've been reading all my life. So,
what is your favorite book, Bishop?
Favorite book?
Different than the Bible.
Different than the Bible. Okay. I don't know if, well, I'm not going to pick the standard ones because I do love The Lord of the Rings. So I will say that. But I'm a big fan of the writer Chaim Potok. And I really love the book Anna Karenina. And I like fantasy books, and I like history books. So it's hard to pick a favorite. But I always have more than one book going on at the same time. And so I like to read. I like to watch sports. I'm trying to keep hidden what the teams I like, but one of them's in the Super Bowl next week. And I'll have to switch, I guess. But even the Jet fans would let me not convert to them. Yes. Okay. So I like I like puzzles. I like games. I like puzzles that, like I do the New York Times puzzles every day. So I love puzzles. I like to eat and be with family, but there's nothing extraordinary going on in my life.
Which book are you reading right now?
Right now?
Yep.
I'm reading the 8th in a series of books by a guy named Sever Brony. It's a fantasy novel. I'm reading the history of the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception in Albany, which somebody sent to me. And I'm reading a book about praying the Psalms as Jesus did. So if Jesus prayed these Psalms, what would he be praying? So it's been very interesting.
That's very
so
cool.
See, I always have more than one at the same time.
Yeah. This is what it's like to be a bishop.
Well, once again, grace comes with orders, and you can be a bishop because you have the grace to be a bishop. It's different being a bishop of a diocese like I am now than being an auxiliary bishop as I was. People write me a lot of letters.
And a lot of calls, a lot of complaints.
They do complain, but they also support.
Of course.
And they're very demanding letters. They're like, you as the Bishop of Albany need to do this tomorrow. So I try to read them. As an ordinary, it's really a special thing to go to a parish and represent the whole diocese. I found out right after I was ordained a bishop, I went to this Vietnamese parish, and it was my first mass as a bishop. So this is almost 10 years ago. So I go to this Vietnamese mass, and I couldn't believe how many pictures they wanted of. But as I'm taking all these pictures, I have like a standard confirmation photo, where I smile. So I'm taking all these pictures, and in my head I realized they don't care who I am. I mean, they care, but it's the bishop, it's the title, it's the hat, it's representing the church,
The institution. Yes.
And so it's a very humbling thing that I don't want to screw up. Also, as a bishop, one of our things is we're successors of the apostles, which is like, okay, Mark O'Connell, you're now a successor of the apostles. So together with the Pope, it's bishop's job to hand on the faith to a generation after, that's our job. Keep the faith pure, hand it on, and express it. And that's a humbling thing to have that title. So it is, it's kind of surreal to all these things happen around me, and I just try to be faithful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Last question from the middle school students, but I think you already answered this. How did God call you to be a bishop?
To be a bishop? It was a
Cardinal
phone call.
Pierre. Oh,
yeah, it was a phone call.
Big no.
And it was, hello, this is God. No, it was a phone call. But how did God call me to prepare to say yes? By giving me a whole bunch of difficult things in my life that I had to overcome, so that I would be ready.
That's awesome.
It's so you can look back over my life and see how God prepared me for this.
Yep.
And like I walk into Albany, I'm not a rookie. I know most things that I'm doing, and I'm learning the particulars. But that's because God prepared me for this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Bishop, we have our young adults here, some of them. We are so glad they have some questions for you.
Ready.
and you can elaborate in the answers, and feel
Okay.
free to say what do you
Did I already
feel.
answer all your questions? Hello.
Hello.
Tell me your name and then the question.
My name is Gianna, and I was just wondering how you approach criticism about the Catholic Church, such as abuse and corruption, in casual conversation with others.
Excellent question. So, first of all, I try to be positive. Also, we're a divine institution, but we're human people, and I would never deny the sinfulness that has happened in the church, and so the criticism is often deserved. Now, it's not always deserved. Sometimes people have no idea what they're talking about. They just don't know the full story, and they're not going to either. They're not going to let me tell the full story, or they don't believe the full story, or I'm not allowed to tell them the full story. So but someone told me a long time ago that every single thing of that someone is critical of you, there's some part of it's true. And so I have a human reaction, like a defensiveness sometimes. But when I go back to prayer and I calm down, I always say, okay, God, you show me what part of that is true. And I think that's a worthy exercise that has helped me.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
awesome. Who's next? Emily.
Hello, Your Excellency.
Hi.
My name's Emily Lombard. My question for you is, what prayers do you recommend for when you're feeling spiritually dry?
Okay.
That's a good question, Emily.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you. So when I'm spiritually dry, I know that, first of all, that's good. Because that is the pattern that God gives us. It's frustrating, but I read an autobiography of Mother Teresa, who I'm a big fan of, and she talked about the spiritual dryness in her life. If she could be spiritually dry, so could I be, right? She talked about how God turned off the I'm thinking of tap, but kind of turned off the flow that she had when she was younger. And but she also talked about remaining faithful to her times of prayer, and so dryness seems to be part of God's plan, and so we have to be really not afraid of the. I mean, sometimes when it's the opposite of dryness, it's kind of scary for me. But spiritual dryness, I try to slow down. Priests read Psalms day after day after day, many times a day, and they can be very enriching, and they can be really, really boring. And when they're really, really boring, I try to slow down so that I can find something in the. Okay, I say a prayer. Okay, God, give me a thought, anything in this psalm that I have no relationship. I'm not feeling what this person in the psalm is feeling, but just give me a thought, or help me pray for those that do feel like this. So I have to really struggle to slow down and ask God to help me when I'm feeling dry in prayer. And but it does happen, and it's not a bad thing. It makes you appreciate the more flowing times better.
Thank you so much, Bishop.
Okay. So thank you, Emily. Who's next? By the way, if Bishop mentioned Mother Teresa, we have a podcast with Gene O'Keefe, one of our parishioners, and he is the leader for our Eucharistic ministers here at St. Pius. He worked before with Mother Teresa before she won the Nobel Prize. And if you want to know more about that experience in Calcutta, check that podcast. Go ahead.
Hi, Bishop.
Hi.
Second time in this podcast, right?
My name is Alessandra, and my question is, what is a good place to start if you want to learn more about the saints?
About the saints. Well, I would start at some of the good ones. Yeah, like so going all in on certain saints really has a lot of fruit, and then you would then you can move on to other ones. Sometimes we read spiritual books like we have to get them done. It's like sometimes how we read the Bible. It's like, okay, other people are reading it in a year. I can read it in a year. Well, I think I don't know, no criticism to people that read it in the year. But to me, reading the Bible, you have to stop, and every time you get a new thought, because this does relate to your question, but when you have a new thought reading the Bible, and you think, oh, but I got to finish this chapter. It's like saying to God, okay, hang on, God. I got to finish my homework before I could talk to you, right? I'd rather read 2 sentences of the Bible and dwell with that thought and save the rest of it. So with saints, if you started Therese of Lisieux, The Life of a Soul, it just starts, did I get that name right?
Yep.
Or just jump in on slowly reading about St. Francis or St. Augustine or Joan of Arc. A lot of people are attracted to to really go in on a saint, and then when other ones come up in your life too. So I would take them one at a time, rather than just try to know all the saints. One of my least favorite books is Butler's Lives of the Saints, because they're all perfect. St. Ambrose was always saintly and had blonde hair that looked like a halo. Oh, come on. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like books like that. I like books that show people struggling, and because every saint became a saint because they overcame, and not because they were perfect all their life. They overcame doubts and difficulties and stayed faithful. That's what makes them saints. So I like to find the real stuff that they overcame.
That's wonderful. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Alessandra.
Okay, who's next?
This is kind of fun.
Yep. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sarah,
Sarah.
and my question is, do you have a favorite hymn, or is there a particular hymn that resonates with you and the way you experience your faith in God?
Oh,
She's in the choir of St. Pius. That's why she's...
yeah. Well, I avoid favorites, so I will talk about music in general. I've never been... I like a lot of things, so... I remember when I was a kid, somebody asked me my favorite color, and I just didn't have a favorite color, so I said brown. And then I had to fake that was my favorite color for years. Yeah, yeah, because and my favorite song, I said, okay, my brother has a favorite song, so I'm gonna make my favorite song the next song on the radio, and it was a crappy song, but that was my song. So favorites is not my thing. However, I love contemporary music, and I love some old hymns like Abide with Me is very special to me. In one of my homilies, I forget which one, I talked about how much "Here I Am, Lord" has meant to me. Even though lots of people don't like that, I love that song. I love just music done well. Yeah, but I'm trying to. Do you know that song? Oh, the overwhelming ever. What are the words?
Oh, the overwhelming,
Mike.
everlasting, reckless love of God. That one?
That's beautiful song. Okay.
Wow.
Reckless love, I think it's called.
So my there was a thing in Boston where a band was playing that, a contemporary music band, and they're playing that. Okay, well, they would be. This woman comes to confession. Now, I could pretend this is my story, but it's my best friend's story, Father Paul's. Okay. She comes to confession, and he's hearing confessions during this song. And she says to him, now, no seals are breaking. You don't know who this person is. But she says to him, I just came to say hello because I know I can't be forgiven. So he said, oh, well, tell me about that. So she tells the story, and he explains to her, no, you can be forgiven, and God forgives you. And it was a real important confession for this person and for my friend. So he gives her absolution, and she walks back into the hall, and they're playing that song sing it again.
Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
So that's what she walked back into the thing with. So songs can be very powerful. So thank you for singing.
No problem. Thank you.
It's good. Next question. Very good. Thank you so much. Here he is, the man. Bishop, you and Teresa, we did a podcast about the movie Conclave, and that was very popular in our community.
Yeah. Did you, the movie Conclave, Cardinal Sean, who's been in a conclave, was asked how realistic it was, and he says, it wasn't. So it was a good film.
Yeah. That was our conclusion too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the question I have here is, from a Catholic perspective, what is the best way to respond to a stranger who asks for money on the street?
Well, if it's safe and I try to help them. I carry cookies in my car because I have to drive into well, at least in Boston, those oatmeal cookies, those things. Mm-hmm. When I went to that Carmelite convent, I was always hit up for money, and I carried cookies in my car. So I gave them out. They all seemed to be happy with them. So, but I think that Pope Francis would say, what's stopping you from giving? Mm-hmm. Are they really going to go on some drinking binge for $1? No. You got to trust them where they are. So, I got hit. I used to walk to school when I lived in Rome, and you'd meet like professional beggars. Mm-hmm. And you get to know them. Mm-hmm. And I tried to get to know them. And so I would have little conversations with some of them in my best Italian. And there was one woman who held out her hand, and everybody would go, like, a man would be, Signore, 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 Signore. And then she'd see me and she'd go, Padre, 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 Padre. Well, then eventually I got to know her. And so I would say when it's safe and it's convenient and you can afford it, I always opt to give what I can.
Yeah. Thank you, Bishop.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bishop. For all the people who are asking me that question every single week, here is the answer. Listen to this or watch this podcast. Who is next? Ooh. Okay. Welcome back. Oh, now we have some of the Bishop's anonymous questions.
Oh, they're anonymous.
Yeah.
These are the harder ones, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's good. I like it.
Okay, so this question is, what advice would you give to a young woman considering an abortion?
Well, first of all, I know that that's a really, really hard thing for that young woman. And that there are many pressures on her. And so I recognize those pressures. And but I would help her find people that will help her. I act as a middle person. There are agencies in the Catholic Church that will help her, despite all the pressures on her, raise this child. So I would want her to know that there are people that will help you. You're not hopeless. So let me help you. Let me find somebody to help you. Is what I try to do. But first of all, I recognize how upsetting it is that this happened, but I would and I do try to get them to realize that this is a child, right? And I remember once I when I was in seminary, I taught a class. There was 5 boys and 1 girl, and like 6-7 years later, this woman calls and says, I saw you celebrate Mass today, and I need to talk to you. For some reason, I think I can relate to you. So she came, and it was the 1 girl in the class who did not recognize me in the slightest. Just, she went to Mass and said, for some reason, I think I could talk to that person. She talked, that was her story. And I had this long conversation with her, and I did everything I could to assure her that there's help for you. And she left. I never found out what happened. And I don't know what happened, that she left my life. But without insulting and being very loving, I try to make sure that they know there is help to raise this child and to birth this child, and that the Catholic Church will help you. That's what I try to do.
Thank you, Bishop.
Okay.
Emily.
Okay, Bishop.
All right.
How should Catholics respond to laws that permit assisted suicide?
Well, I think that the laws are being written as we speak, and I think that assisted suicide is we're losing the battle in the Catholic Church. We're not able to give our point of view strong enough. In Boston, there was an election, and so they did it through a ballot, and Cardinal Sean led an all-out effort to stop it, and it was stopped. It was voted against, which was a miracle, and it still hasn't come back to Massachusetts. So it's worth the battle, even though it looks overwhelming. But what happens is life becomes less valuable in people's eyes. And I know there's a lot of propaganda out there that says that you don't want someone to suffer. Well, they're certainly suffering with the loss, but most people are not in pain. Palliative care is very advanced. Most people dying are not in physical pain. They're suffering, certainly, but it's. I think we should build up what exactly is palliative care and what exactly happens when someone is dying. It's in Catholic hospices. It's a almost always a gentle death. Now, I know there'll be people listening that are angry with me for saying that, but how much is it physical pain right now? It's far less than it used to be. Also, I know that the governor, Hochul in New York, she's considering this, and I know she, for example, wants to put a delay in, which would be very helpful, like you have to wait 5 months or something like that. But my understanding is, as it's written, you could start that 5 months while you're still healthy. So it's kind of an ineffective teeth that she's putting into it. So I'm hoping that the governor puts as much teeth into this bill as we can. So that's my hope, because I think she's already told the world she's going to sign it. But what she's actually going to sign, I think could be, I think she has a desire to make it stronger than it is. So I hope that works out. And I don't know if I've exactly answered your question, but I think it's worth fighting. If you look at the statistics in Canada and certain places in Europe, it becomes more than just people want dignity in death. It becomes, it's cheaper to administer death than it is to take care of them. And when you're making decisions like that, to me, the balance is immoral. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you, Bishop.
Okay.
I know that was a hard one.
Yeah, well.
We have 2 more. Oh, 3 more.
Okay, we're getting the hard ones at the end. But that's all right. I love questions.
In your eyes, what is the most important personality trait that makes an effective religious leader?
Okay. I could relax.
That was a question to you, Bishop.
Effective religious leader. First of all, can I brag about my personality?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is going to be a weird answer. Okay. There are certain tests like Myers-Briggs and things to talk about both. There's one that's run by a group called Catholic Leadership Institute, which has 4 letters, DISC. They mean something. And so you take a bunch of questions, and then it tells you your personality. Are you a strong D and a small I? Or so there's categories. And you see a lot of the ministers are in the same kind of category of kind of caring type people. Okay. I took the test, and the computer said, your personality does not calculate. I've never had a more proud moment in my life. Because either I have no personality whatsoever, or I just fit in too many of them. So, to me, I think it's good to have traits of all of them. So, so that's kind of a weird answer, but you have to have peace in your life. You have to have discipline to pray. You have to have a strong resolution to say yes and no, and not waffle. To be a leader in the church, people, they need a yes and no. They need an explanation, but people they want that. And but you don't have to be a certain personality to be a priest. We have wonderful priests or sisters that are all sorts of personalities. There's all sorts of uses for the mod. God uses all personalities. Believe me, some of the people in seminaries today are personalities you would think would never be a priest, but they can become very effective priests. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bishop. Next one. Two more, Bishop, two more.
okay, whatever it is. Unless we're out of time, I'm here.
Nah.
All right. This one is, what is a canon lawyer? How can your experiences as canon lawyer be leveraged in your role as bishop?
Okay. I am a canon lawyer. So every society has law. Even ants have law. For example, there are certain ants. You know those ants that you could see them on films and they're carrying this big leaf? That's my example, my impression of an ant carrying a leaf. Okay. Those ants have this law where when they're walking out of the nest, they walk on the outside of the, and when they're walking with the leaf, they walk in the middle. Okay. Kindergartens have laws. You hear, that's not fair. It's because somebody broke the law that you can't step twice in the crack or whatever it is, So the church has law. And canon law is study or the laws of the church that cover every part of the church. So Eucharist has to be only made of wheat, can't be rice, is a law. Priests are a certain type of priest. They're a religious priest or they're secular priests, and the tie to your diocese and the diocese tie to you is the law. The priests that get themselves in trouble are breaking the law. Pastors have to run their churches in a certain way with certain restrictions on what they can do. So all these things are the law of the church, and therefore I, as a canon lawyer, help. I used to help the bishop figure out. Now I help myself, I guess, to figure out what is allowable and what isn't allowable in the church. And the thing about church law is different than civil law, is that the application could be very different depending on the circumstances. So the highest law in the Catholic Church is the salvation of souls. So a bishop applies the law, and it could be two people that did the exact same thing, but one of them had motives that were more evil, and so the punishment would be greater. Because the most important thing is the salvation of their soul, and the application is up to the bishop. Whereas often in court, they're told, okay, this crime gets that. So it's much more flexible, and with each part of it, not just crimes, but with each part of the law, there's the application has to be within the law, but fit the person that it's applying to. So I found it fascinating. I didn't ask to study canon law, but I was just told to go, and so I did. But when I started practicing it, I just thought, okay, I'm gonna give the most pastoral interpretations as possible within the law, and I really enjoy doing that. So, but what's a canon lawyer is someone who applies the law, hopefully pastorally, and not hard. Too many people like the hammer.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Last question.
Oh, last question.
The last one. Oh, we have two more.
Oh, two more. Okay, you're saving the easiest ones for last?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Question is, how does cohabitation affect a couple's spiritual life and openness to grace? What advice would you give to a couple discerning marriage that are currently living together?
Okay.
A wonderful question for a canon lawyer.
Oh, well. Yeah, but any priest faces this all the time.
Yep.
So I was meeting with a couple that was going to get married. And the man said, my parents think I'm making a mistake. And I said, why do they think that? He said, because they think couples should not get married. They should live together and then figure it out and then maybe get married. And then the woman said, my parents don't think that. So, but nevertheless, that's a huge change. You got parents saying that. That means the world is a little different. And I understand that. I understand that the world is different. But the biggest difference between marriage and living together is that besides grace, and I can talk about grace, I'm a big believer in grace, obviously, is that there's an exit sign that you can always take when you're living together. No matter how long you've lived together, if you're not married, there's an easy exit. And there is a easier way to just say, okay, I'm done. Where you have the sacrament of marriage and you're promised for the rest of your life, and then you work things out. And in my experience, not as a married person, but as dealing with a lot of married couples, in the working things out, your bond is stronger. Because you think, I've made a vow before my God and my world that I have married this person, and therefore I need to work it out. Now, I don't mean a person should stay in an abusive marriage. No, even the canon law says get out of that one, separate, right? So, but the taking your vow seriously is a way of strengthening that marriage. And when you add God's grace, just like the grace I had to be a priest and a bishop and deacon, when I can totally feel that grace, couples forget to pray for the grace. God, very simple prayer is, give me the grace of my marriage, Lord. I need it right now. Give me the grace of my baptism, Lord. Give me the grace of my confirmation. I need wisdom right now. Give me that grace, Lord. These are very powerful prayers, actually. And giving the grace of my sacrament of marriage is a prayer that people forget to pray. But it's a very powerful prayer. I've witnessed to the power of prayer. Finally, you can go on the internet, secular internet. You don't have to go on Catholic internet, and look at the statistics of couples that pray together. Not couples that are just married, but couples that pray together such that they can share their heart. Those marriages last. Not every couple can. It's hard for them. But couples that actually take time and pray together, sharing through prayer before God, the statistics on those marriages they're very strong. And you don't have to find a Catholic website to look that up.
Well, that's a good one. We have a last one, right? Monica? Thank you, Nick.
Hi, Bishop Mark.
Hi.
My name is Monica.
Hi, Monica.
My question is, do you think that going on pilgrimages are important in our spiritual journey?
I do. The most powerful pilgrimage I ever went on, and I recommend it to everyone when the world calms down a bit, perhaps, is to go to the Holy Land. That was a life-changing pilgrimage. There was one day where we woke up early and we celebrated Mass in the tomb. Then in the middle of the day, we went to Bethlehem, to the place that's where Jesus was born. And then we had another Mass at night where we celebrated in the upper room. It was the most spiritual high I've ever been in my life. Okay, so that's the ultimate pilgrimage to me. But a pilgrimage is a journey of faith where you expect some fruit. You don't know what you can't go on a pilgrimage and say, okay, God, if I do this pilgrimage, you're going to give me X. That's just if you think of the arrogance of that, I mean, I know we do it, but you think of the arrogance that we're going to tell God what to give me. That's just incredible foolishness, actually, to pray for a specific outcome and just say, God, I'm going to do this, so you're going to do this. That's just not how it works. And we're like children who want to touch the stove, and the parent knows you shouldn't touch the stove, right, with God. So a pilgrimage is, I need an answer, or I need a guidance, and I will do this, and along the way, I will look for the signs that you show me. I will go where you lead me. And they can be very small. I mean, when I was with some friends, I used to do pilgrimages where you go to simply a statue of Mary, for example. You do a decade of the Rosary on the way, and you do one there, and you do one on the way home. But you don't just pray. You go with eyes open. God, somewhere in this, give me something, some push, some direction, something I need to see. And when you're open like that to whatever God wants to lead you, I think pilgrimages are really, really powerful ways of being a Catholic.
Thank you, Bishop.
Okay.
Beautiful. That was beautiful, Bishop. I just went to Lourdes this past summer. Life-changing pilgrimage. Beautiful, beautiful moment. Bishop, thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. Bishop, we always end this podcast asking the guest, if Jesus Christ show up here today to you, he is here with you, he just show up right now, what you will say to him?
What would I say to Jesus?
Yeah. If he shows up here physically, here is Jesus Christ, what you will say to him?
I would say, my Lord and my God.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't know what I would say. First of all, I would try to look busy. But no, I we all will face that. Mm-hmm. And I think I would say, here I am, Lord.
That's awesome. Bishop, here is the camera. Do you have any message to our community here at St. Pius?
Well, hello, St. Pius. I've been to like 30-something churches, but I haven't been to yours yet. But today,
This Sunday.
Oh, is it this Sunday?
This Sunday at 8 o'clock. You'll be here.
Okay. I never want to know what I'm doing in a week. Okay, I'm coming this Sunday. Okay. St. Pius, I'll be there this Sunday. And I look forward to meeting you all. And I am so happy to be the Bishop of Albany. It is a awesome responsibility. And I hope that I serve well as your bishop. So thank you for your wonderful welcome. And please pray for me as I pray for you.
Thank you, Bishop. Okay, everybody, that was the podcast with Bishop. Bishop Mark, he will be here this Sunday, 8 o'clock. We will have...
Apparently.
Yep. We will have hospitality in the upper room after the 8 o'clock, the 10 and the noon mass. Just make sure to show up to have this beautiful moment with the bishop. And as we always say here at St. Pius, just remember to be anchored with Jesus Christ the Lord. And this is not about perfection. No any of us is perfect. We are just people who walk together to experience the Lord Jesus Christ. It's about an encounter with the love of Jesus Christ. Keep watching everything that we do here at St. Pius website, Spotify, Apple Music. This podcast will be probably 2 parts, I'm guessing. And, keep watching the podcast Who's in My Pew. Beautiful opportunity for all of you to know our community here at St. Pius. And, God bless you all. Bishop, could you give us the final blessing?
Oh, sure. All right. So the bishop's blessing is you have to have 3 responses, right? The first is the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
Okay, you know that one. Yeah. Second is I say, blessed be the name of the Lord, and you say, now and forever.
Everybody, now and forever.
Then I say, our help is in the name of the Lord, and you say, who made heaven and earth?
Who made heaven and earth.
Oh, you think you got it?
Yes.
Okay, the second one is now and forever. The third one is who made heaven and earth.
Easy.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Now and forever.
Our help is in the name of the Lord.
Who made heaven and earth.
May Almighty God bless you, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop, and God bless you all. We love you. Woo.